you didn't want to always have kids.
I didn't.
And you have turned out to be a pretty great parent.
Well, thank you.
I like that my Harley Quinn things have been used as weapons lately.
The Harley Quinn thing, yeah, you used the Harley Quinn hammer.
To kill the spider.
Yeah, the comically large Harley Quinn hammer. Yeah, this past week I hosted a Pride event, and he asked you what everybody was doing. Yeah, what are they celebrating? And then you said to him, "Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Two Tired Parents podcast. We are Two Tired Parents. I am Miles Weber.
I am Heather Weber.
All right. So we're getting into this again today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We're parenting. It's been a eventful parenting day. I mean, we dropped him off at daycare. And then you thought there was a rodent in the house?
Yeah, there's no rodent. For better or worse.
I mean, you never know. There might be a mouse in our
You can't tell me that and
closet.
expect me to sleep in that room, so you just need to let me believe that there is nothing in that room now, sir.
There's nothing in the room.
Or else you were in there solo.
There's absolutely nothing in that room in any way, shape, or form. I do not know.
Like, I couldn't sleep with a spider over our bed. You think I'm going to be able to sleep knowing there's a mouse in our closet? Absolutely not.
I was gone dropping our son off at daycare, and I got a video message from my wife saying that she heard something going down the hall and then heard something kind of rummaging in the closet. Sounded like hangers kind of clanking against each other, and so I took the dogs back there with a very small soft bat that we have.
I like that my Harley Quinn things have been used as weapons lately.
The Harley Quinn thing, yeah, you used the Harley Quinn hammer.
To kill the spider.
Yeah, the comically large Harley Quinn hammer.
Me, guys.
Yeah.
I'm pregnant. I can't afford to get bit by a spider. I don't care what kind of spider.
Or what kind of superpowers you might inevitably get.
Right.
So I used the comically large Harley Quinn hammer to kill the spider, and then I had your Harley Quinn bat because, I mean, although it is the same size as a regular bat and it looks like a regular bat, it's kind of rubber a little bit. Yeah.
We have two other bats. Are they by the bed? I don't remember.
Yeah, they're by the bed. The actual bats are by the bed.
They have multiple
So
bats.
yeah, we've got a lot of bats. That's
For somebody who doesn't like bats.
Those are our weapons of choice in our house, which is inevitably bats. And so, yeah, I took that Harley Quinn rubber bat and just was kind of making some noise and didn't see anything run out. So our one dog, Scrappy, the Chihuahua pug mix, was valiantly hidden under the bed.
Maybe she was helping us look.
I mean, she definitely made sure there wasn't anything under the bed by staying there while I was banging things out. Taz just laid down on his little bed right in front of the closet. So he was just kind of like, I don't know what you're doing, but I guess I'm just staying here.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, nothing ran out. So I don't know if it just kind of escaped out the window later. But we did sage the house.
The window that has a screen on it?
Yeah, maybe it chewed through, which I think is still open. So we need to close that. But yeah, maybe it chewed through. Who knows? I'm trying to make you feel comfortable here because I'll be out like a light tonight. Sleeping. Anywhere. I will sleep anywhere on anything. I will make it happen so I can get that sleep.
Such a man.
Yeah, I don't care. The man's sleep is like, I'm invincible. What's the worst that could possibly happen to me? And it's like, literally anything. You're unconscious, but I'm just like,
nah. We were at the bank the other day, and you were at the ATM just texting on your phone at the same time. And I'm like, I know no woman that is standing outside at an ATM also on her phone, just unaware of everything going around now.
Well, I think the woman at the ATM next to me, she brought like her Rottweiler.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, she had a Rottweiler with her, and I'm just sitting there texting.
Nothing bad can happen.
I went for a run at like 5 o'clock this morning, like 5:30 in the morning. And you're like, it's still dark out, and you're gonna run in noise canceling headphones, and I'm just like, nothing can stop me. And so I did. And yet here I am, still fine, much to the chagrin of, I mean, I feel like people, but not you, but part of me in this conversation feels like kind of you, actually.
It'd be cool if, like, you had a little scare. Like, I don't want anything to happen, but, like...
Just a little
a little nudge that, like, you're not totally invincible, besides your pants ripping.
Yeah, no, that does happen. This is the part of the sitcom where you would like tap a friend of ours, like, just give them a little scare, nothing major, and then it like goes poorly.
Like scare tactics, call them.
Oh yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. Oh no, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. That would be the worst possible
I don't
way.
want like a zombie or anything. I just want a regular person. to
Yeah,
come up
you
and
want it
scare me.
rooted in reality at
Yeah.
least. You don't want to be like, oh, a toxic chemical leaked, and now there's this like little demon or something that's trying to chase him. You don't want me to be scared.
No.
In that way. So yeah, yeah, that was kind of our adventure today. What else have we had going on? Or there was some stuff that you wanted to talk about today. I know I wanted to make sure that we hit those points as well, in addition to.
I mean,
and
it's
we'll
about
see
you,
what we
so you
got
get
for
to talk.
time. Oh, all right, fair enough.
Because I was thinking of like things that are interesting from the parenting dynamic.
Sure.
And also, I think I posted on my story today of a guy, I think he was on Jay Shetty's podcast, and he was saying
that was
there's a difference of people that have kids versus parents.
Yes.
Those aren't the same things.
It's not the same thing. A lot of the previous generations just have kids.
Bare minimum.
Yeah.
But so in that, it had me thinking kind of on that wavelength, but about how you didn't want to always have kids.
I didn't.
And you have turned out to be a pretty great parent.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I mean, I modestly say good. I don't know. Sometimes I don't feel like I'm doing great, but I feel like I do more good than the opposite. Yeah, no, in my youth and 20s, I very much so did not want to have kids. I mean, I think a lot of the reasoning for that, I mean, it was a lot of different things. I think I just couldn't see beyond not putting every ounce of energy I had into stand-up comedy and making sure that worked. And I really committed myself to getting in my 10,000 hours of doing that. And, the best advice I'd gotten early on from Louis Anderson being like, get on stage 1,000 times as fast as you possibly can. And I took that to heart. And so it was just like, well, I mean, as fast as I possibly can, let's see what we can do. I didn't want to get up every day, pull a full Sammy Obeid and get the Guinness World Record for most days performing on the road. But yeah, I was just so heavily dedicated to doing stand-up. I think I couldn't see beyond that. I think the relationships that I was in when I was younger, because I mean, I was very much so a nester, like 2 back-to-back 4-year relationships before you and I got together, and I think there was like an 8 to 10 month gap that I was single before you and I got together. And I think those relationships ultimately, I don't know if my first relationship that I was in, I don't want to say she didn't want kids and then that not be true. We don't talk. We're not friends. There's not really a way that.
To be fair, you were also in high school, so
Yeah.
I don't know. Like maybe some high schoolers do talk about that stuff.
Maybe,
but-
possibly.
and
And
it was also a private school, so like,
yes, yeah.
how you get kids was forbidden.
Yeah, it was just like no hanky panky. We had True Love Waits Week and all that fun stuff. So I don't know what we are, but yeah. So there was that relationship where it was just like, there's no way. And then the following relationship, I think I was just, I mean, we never even lived together, my next relationship. And so I feel like that was the thing, ultimately, that I was like, well, I mean, I'm not going to think about kids right now because we're not even living together. So I think that was another driving force of just like, I mean, like, I just don't see myself with kids with these people. It's just not a thought in my head, especially if like the living together thing isn't a thought in my head. So yeah, it just didn't seem like it made sense. And then ultimately, I think there was a lot of aspects of how I was parented that I did not care for, and just kind of the overall vibe in my house. And I mean, because I feel like we've I've harped on the last couple of episodes about like, I mean, my childhood wasn't tragic. I don't say I was like substantially severely traumatized all the time. Scrappy, chill.
Every time.
Every time. No. Not right now. Now is not the time for you to be scratching at the door to want to just go chill outside. Our dog is at the back door, just like scratching.
Just let them out.
Yeah, and we just let them out. So they're sufficiently empty and fed and nourished and everything. She just wants to go be a sun baby right now because the sun is not shining in. So now is not the time. And you didn't defend us from the mouse earlier, so that's what you get. Yeah, my childhood wasn't like, overtly traumatic. Just my parents fought all the time, and so like the overall energy was just a lot of, I mean, it's tense around here, and like, I mean, if this is parenting, I don't know that I want to be. But I got to go to a lot of cool events, a lot of cool concerts, sporting events. There was no shortage of like stuff and things. That was, I think, the love language of my parents was like, okay, well, I mean, we're gonna get you stuff, and we're gonna do certain things with you. But ultimately, there was still a lot that I was just like, but you guys seem so on edge and so stressed out and not happy in a lot of capacities. So, I mean, I'm just like, I don't know if I want to, and then ultimately, as I started getting older as an adult, our relationship got not better. And so I was just like, I don't know that having this with a kid of my own is the way I want to do it. And then going to therapy for years and working on a lot of things that I think helped kind of tip things in the right direction. And also just getting together with you. I mean, that was the other thing, is like getting together with you. I saw so much of a future of like, I do want to see where things go with this person. And oh man, yeah, let's see what it's like living together. And when we lived together, I mean, that dynamic was great. I mean, I think me having OCD and you being a Virgo was a pretty sincere match made in heaven. And so we didn't bother each other. We didn't bug each other. We, didn't really get on each other's nerves at all. Still don't, I don't think, And so, yeah, I think things moving in a positive direction that way, and then going like, oh yeah, no, I can see how, you would be an amazing mom. Like, I mean, you taught me things as an adult that my mom didn't teach me, like, how to cook, how to clean, how to kind of like take care of myself overall. And I mean, mostly my mom just didn't have the time, and she was just so stressed out all the time that she was just like, you can't help me cook. Get out of the kitchen. This is my safe space. Like, I got to do things my way. Don't do your own laundry. You'll break it. And so it was just a matter of, me just not knowing a lot, and you inevitably came in and taught me how to adult in every stretch of the way and take care of my body. This is how you eat right. This is how you exercise. And I'm just like, you're parenting me phenomenally. So, I mean, like, I think you would be a great parent to like,
Probably do this to somebody
you
else.
could probably do this from the get. Like, if you could help me steer my ship in a direction that's more favorable, and and then, I mean, helping me you were always a positive reinforcement in me going to therapy and getting the help that I felt like I needed and working on things, and just always a good sounding board. And so I was just like, yeah, seeing in you that you would be a great parent, and then, I guess I could just try and work on healing whatever it is that's going on in my heart from my childhood, which, I mean, to this day I still am working on actively. Like, you don't have to do it that way. It doesn't have to be this thing that is stressful. And granted, it is. It's still.
To say parenting isn't stressful.
Parenting isn't stressful.
Level.
It's a different level. It doesn't have to be stressful in the ways that you were like this disconnect feels bad, and so I would want there to be a connect, and I feel like there is. I mean, like, we love our son very much, and the one that's on the way, currently cooking down here in the belly, and he loves us back. I mean, even, this past week I hosted a Pride event, and he asked you what everybody was doing.
Celebrating?
Yeah, what are they celebrating? And then you said to him,
I mean, I was just explaining to him, like, Mama and Dada love each other, and we're a couple, and we're a boy and a girl, but there's also couples that are both girls or both boys, or I didn't get into extra things because he's
Yeah,
3.
he's
and
3.
We will cross that bridge later.
Yeah.
But the foundation of it, and, at the end of the day, as long as it's all rooted in love, then it doesn't matter who it's from. And he just smiled, and he's like, oh, I love how happy everybody is. And then he stopped, and he was like, well, I love Daddy, and we're both boys, and that's okay. So.
man, what a kid. So yeah, man, I mean, that's the message. That's what makes sense. Love is love. Who cares? It doesn't matter, And then when you get to an adult, what consenting adults do behind closed doors is none of anybody's business but those adults. So yeah, I mean, just he's a sweet kid. He's a great kid. We love him to death. He loves us to death. And so yeah, there's. I think it's with anything in life. There's going to be a give and a take. I mean, there's a positive charge. There could be a negative charge. And so anything, pick a job that you love. I mean, like, I love stand-up comedy with all of my heart and soul, and I couldn't imagine doing anything else. There are times when it's stressful. There are aspects of it that are less than savory. Having to be away from y'all. The travel is grueling. The schedule being like, all right, when can you get this amount of stuff done? And who knows what's going to happen on the end result, the rejection that you get. There are so many things about it that, this isn't great. I mean, and most people don't sign up for those reasons, or sign up for it, realize that's how it is, and then get out of it quickly. We've seen that a lot over the better part of 2 decades, which is how long I've been doing it. But ultimately, I still love it. I still have a passion for it. And the good side does ultimately outweigh the bad side in a lot of way. And so same with parenting. You're going to have things where it's like, this is the best, I mean, it's my joke that I do. It's a lot of 1s and 10s, It's just, things are great sometimes, and it's like, oh my God, what a dream this life is. And then other things are just like, oh my God, he puked all over the backseat of the car, and I'm by myself, and I'm having an existential panic attack in a public park as to how I can take care of the situation. So it goes sideline to sideline. You're on both ends of the spectrum constantly as a parent. And so, I think, once we got into it of like, all right, we're doing it. We're parents now. It was just kind of things start happening so fast, and the progression of it, and then being like, hey, let's try for one more, see if we can have an even kill, boy-girl situation. And that's what we have now. We have a girl on the way in a couple of months here, and then we're closing down the factory, and I'm going to sit in a cold bag of peas for a couple of weeks. But, so yeah, I mean, I think that's the long-winded perspective I have on, like, first not wanting to be a parent, but ultimately deciding to be a parent, and the doubts that I had, and how is this going to be? Am I going to be good? And now looking back, one of the best things I've ever done. Would not change it for the world. Like 10 out of 10, to that effect. If you don't want kids, I don't want you to have kids. In no way, shape, or form do I want you to have kids. I think there's a lot of people that probably shouldn't have had them and have them, and that's what we were talking about earlier, which is like the people who have kids versus the people who are parents. And so, I think those are two inherently different things. Yeah. And so, if you don't want kids, no pressure. No pressure. I think the only thing with people who don't want kids, the only excuse that I push back against is when they're just like, well, the world is messed up enough, and I don't want to bring them into this. And it's just like, homie, the world has been messed up exclusively for as long as we've been worlding on this planet. Like, there's usually some type of war happening. There's usually some type of like...
She's agreeing.
She agrees. There you go. She's kicking around like, yeah, preach. There's never really a good time, but ultimately that's also you kind of just giving up to that. There's adversity, so why try? And it's just like, man, you're okay with just letting the world burn and sitting back and playing the victim at that point on just like, well, what's going to happen? And it's just like, hey, man, pick yourself up and let's make this happen. Like, be the change that you want to see in the world.
Yeah.
We're treating it like a pyramid scheme. If we can get 2 more good people into this,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
know the way the good tends to cast a wider net than the bad does. Yeah, man, I think that's the better perspective to have. But yeah, whenever somebody's just like, well, the world already sucks, I'm just like, all right, you're lying down and giving up on this anyway. So you go sit in the corner if you're not going to try and actively make the world a better place, you know, in any way that you possibly can. And so, yeah. That's the only circumstance that I'm just like, nah, not that one. But every other aspect, well, financially, my time, sure, okay,
Yeah.
totally, yeah. If you really want those things, I encourage you to hold on to them. So
Yeah. I mean, because at the end of the day, like, you always hear from people like, oh, well, when I'm ready, or I don't know if I'm ready. You're never going to be ready.
you will never be ready.
Because you don't know what it's like until you're in it. And
Yeah.
you don't realize how much time and energy and things, like, everybody's worried about finances, and understandably so.
Of course, especially
But
right now.
There's so much more that goes into parenting.
Yeah.
And especially, we've talked about it before, if you're a hands-on parent, if you're involved as a parent, you're going to be more tired.
Yeah.
You're going to be more emotionally drained.
Yeah.
Because being silly, doing voices, playing all these things that, like, goes into it, or even, like, right now we're homeschooling, having the patience
Oh,
to
yeah.
homeschool.
Oh, yeah.
And some days are better than others. And so there's so much that goes into it.
Yeah.
That you're never going to be ready.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean jump into it right away, but there's a lot that you learn on the fly.
Yeah.
You figure it out as you go. So
It is a nudge in, like, you know, you being able to test your bandwidth for how much you're able to, like you said, react on the fly accordingly. And just like, hey, man, are you going to figure this out? You got no choice. You know, life's going to keep on going. So you got to figure it out. And you really do see how resilient you are. Because I remember a time, you know, what was that, like 11 years ago, when we were, you know, we lost everything and living in LA and ultimately had to decide to move back. Yeah, I was having panic attacks on the regular in circumstances that at the time were justifiably, they felt like overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like, what are we going to do? But then ultimately the realization of, like, nobody's coming to save you. So you got to be able to figure out things on your own and persevere and push forward in the best way that you possibly can. And it's all a part of the story, right? Now, like, the stuff that we deal with pretty regularly as parents, back then, I would be a hot mess. A hot mess. Just a panic attack machine, you know? But I mean, like, I've had a handful of panic attacks as a parent, you know, a small handful. I could probably count on one hand the amount of panic attacks I've had, which is astoundingly better than when I was in my 20s. And now just having, you know, Tourette's, it's just all kind of, it's been shifted to my eyebrow, my chest, and my arms. It's like, just twitch a little bit. Then we'll keep on pushing. We got stuff to do. Yeah, I said while twitching. And so yeah, I mean, it shows you, I think being a parent shows you how resilient you are, and you had no concept of what true resilience was. You know, before being just single and it's just us, and it's like, you just got to figure us out. But when you're responsible for something so small that can't take care of itself, you know, and I think we've done a good job of, like, our kid doesn't know what money is, you know, he doesn't know about, like, financial stress and things like that.
Yeah, he knows what money is. He knows things cost.
He knows things cost, but he doesn't know, like, the ins and outs of, like, financial stress. I feel like there's, you know, a lot of people from our generation that they knew, like, oh, there's struggle happening here. Like, there's a lot of problems, and my parents are having to figure things out.
For sure.
And he has no concept of that.
No. So, I mean, yeah, we've done a great job in that, but it's interesting because he's curious about those things, but also, like, us getting him like a piggy bank, and him like, was saving it for a while, and we counted it and let him know. But he was able to take that money. We went to the Dixon Mayfair, and he was able to buy himself what he could afford.
Yeah.
And so he was, able to start grasping it, and like took pride in getting himself a thing.
Totally.
And so like, he knows money exists, but not the severity of like, we've never been like, well, we can't do that because of finances. It's just like, oh, not right now, or we can do it, whatever that may look like.
Maybe some other time.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to get that thing right now, and we don't get things all the time. We it's just a nice little treat when we can get things. So yeah, we do definitely reframe it in a positive way as much as we possibly can. We're never just like, don't you know how much you're costing me, and you little leech, and it's just like, we never take that energy with
Well,
him.
and I don't want him to ever feel like, and this is a financial, circumstantial, career-wise, I never want him to feel like nothing is attainable. Like, I want him to feel like anything he wants, as long as it's safe, is attainable. Yeah. And so in that, I never want it to be like, well, no, or we can't afford, like, just not today. It's not a today.
It's not a today thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to put a cap on him and like what he feels like he can get by, become career-wise. Like, I never want to poo-poo anything.
For sure.
Like that.
For sure.
So I try and and that's the other thing of parenting, is you become way more mindful of your words.
Yes.
Way more mindful of what you say, how you phrase it.
Your words are very important.
Yes, they are. But yeah, and like you were even saying earlier, like thinking on the fly, you don't realize how much of it you do until, like, i.e. the other day, something scary came on the TV, and I had 2 seconds to figure out how to get him to not look at the TV so we could get to the remote and fix it. And
we were watching wrestling. It was the Royal Rumble from years ago, and the Boogeyman got announced, and I saw it before you saw it. And he was in the living room. We were in the kitchen. We can see everything happening. And I was like, uh-oh. And you're like, what? I'm like, the Boogeyman's coming out. And so you immediately were like, hey, kiddo, why don't you come into the kitchen and help mama real quick? I need help with something. And by God, that kid just wants to help everything. Like, he loves to help people. So he ran to you, just like, okay. Like, and then
he just put his dishes away.
While I found the remote so I could fast forward until the Boogeyman got eliminated, which was very quickly. But oh my God, the nightmares that poor kid would have had if he would have saw the Boogeyman. I mean, luckily when he was crawling out, his face was covered, but then, oh my God. Oof. Whew. No. That would have been rough.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you definitely have done a good job, kind of shielding it from things like that. My last question before we ride off into the sunset, though, I mean, inversely, because you were talking about like when I shifted to like, oh yeah, let's try the parenting thing. I mean, how long have you wanted to be a mom? Like, when did that happen? Was that always, or was that a late development?
I mean, I think like I can think of like. Let's try and not go into everything right now for time's sake and emotional sake. I think teenage years, because especially I think girls, we think of like weddings and families and all those things probably earlier than boys do.
Yeah.
I won't assume, but probably. And so that was definitely there. And inversely, how do I phrase it? Being a survivor of something happening to me, where I did not want something to happen to me, and got pregnant from it, and deciding, because I was a teenager and a lot of reasons, to get an abortion. That really, a lot of ways, messes with your head.
It does.
And especially,
I can only imagine.
And especially, because they do go over things with you, because they do like a quick therapy session, and they tell you the risks, and they're like, if you do this thing, you might not be able to get pregnant after this. It could be, cause complications.
I mean, you had a lot of signs in life, though, of like, who knows, between that and then later, in your early 20s, getting ovarian cancer twice. It was always a gamble. every step of our relationship, you were just like, I don't even know if this is possible for me.
But so in that, like, as a teenager, that was where I was just like, okay, well, I do want to, but I can't right now. And then, you know, also finding out it was twins. Super can't.
Yeah.
So that really, like, did make it where I was like, okay, I do know I want to be a mom. Definitely not the time.
Yeah.
I want to be a mom. And then after that, I mean, it was, you know, similarities of the two exes between that person and you. We're not the people for it. Polar opposites, but not the people for it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was a thing that I'm just like, well, but I'm still trying to figure out career and all these other things. And then health issues arose. And so it definitely got put on the back burner. And then when we got together and I didn't know if I could and you didn't really want them. And I was like, okay, well, if I can't, then this kind of works. But then as we got more involved and married, yeah, it was definitely like, no, I want to, and especially having a younger brother. You know, my brother's 17 years, we're 17 years apart. So in part, there's parts of like helping raise him and be a part of his stuff and being around a lot of people with kids. So yeah, I was always drawn to it and felt like I'd be decent at it. And then, yeah, I think inevitably as we got like further along in our relationship, like, no, this is what I want. And I was getting close to 30. And I was like, oh, okay, well, time has passed from health stuff. But I'm also like, I know how clock's ticking on this side of things.
Quote unquote, yeah.
So, yeah, and I think, you know, in us having our pandemic conversation about having a family, it definitely like put things into perspective of like, no, this is important to me.
Yeah.
And also in us going through a separation, as it were. But also me having the confidence to speak up about how important it was. I'm like, no, I can't sit and stay in this relationship and be quiet about it.
Yeah, that was when you were ultimately like, I want to be mom. Yeah.
Because that was a big part of it was like, no, I want a family. Like, and I don't feel like I have a crazy amount of time to pursue that.
And inversely, that was also when I was like, well, what does the schedule look like, you know, for me? Because, I mean, at the time, that's why we entered the pandemic separated, was because we were just both burning the candle at three ends, career-wise. And it looked like we were both going to be gone for, you know, a while having to do that. And I was on tour all the time. And then it was like, all right, well, actually, if that's the only reason that we're separated and I actually love you and like you, which is important too, and vice versa, you know, well, what does the schedule look like? And that's when I remember a conversation I had with Brian Regan when I got to meet him, which he's like 100 days a year. I do that, and then I hang out with my family the rest of the year. And I'm like, that sounds amazing. Let me do that. Since then, I've been able to keep that. So next year, I might have to be gone for a little bit, and let's get things rocking and rolling. And then I can work on seeing what it looks like on bringing y'all with me places, because we both love that idea as well.
But, and I feel like you've also gotten a lot of, advice from other comics, especially on your time working on the cruise lines.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to being on the road and families and how you intertwine.
That's something between, I mean, just, I'll say, like, working with comics who are older than me, you know, I've been sat down in, you know, the back of a cruise ship, the back of a comedy club, the back of whatever gig it was, and had a older comic who is, you know, sometimes on their second, third, fourth marriage, estranged from their kids in some capacity, doesn't have a good relationship with their kids, and they're all just like, don't do what I did, kid. Don't do what I did. Just, you gotta, you can have all the success in the world in this industry, and it doesn't mean as much if you don't have anybody to go back home to and celebrate it with. You know, you gotta do what you can to find the balance, because I imbalance things, and now, you know, my kid's 40 and doesn't talk to me, or like we barely talk. It's just not this. And so yeah, I'd been told that so much. I mean, ultimately that's why I started coaching, was because I wanted to help comics keep that in mind. It's just like, if I could teach you how to write and have a good career and accomplish your goals, awesome. That's what I love, and that's what I want to help comics do. ultimately, though, I would like you to not burn down your family on the altar of success in this industry. And so, yeah, no, that does make sense. That is about when we were kind of like having that honest conversation about like, what does it look like being parents? And here we are, being parents with another one on the way. Yeah, we're doing it. All right. Well, now we have to go pick up the oldest one that's out of you. We have to go pick him up from daycare. So, yeah, thanks for listening. We're going to have more podcast episodes coming out. We also have our wrestling podcast that we're doing. And so we're going to be recording out of a podcast studio for that one starting up. I know, right? Yeah, we're trying to get fancy with things. I mean, we'll still be doing these from the dining room. But, I mean, when we have guests, we will be outsourcing to a podcast studio. And what a blessing it is to have that as an added-on option because we are working on getting some guests for this podcast, and we have some guests confirmed for the wrestling podcast. So make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is where most of these are going to be coming out. We're going to be working out something with Spotify and getting these out in the future, and hopefully other networks beyond. So stay tuned for all that fun stuff. That being said, I'm Miles Weber.
I'm Heather Weber.
And we have been Two Tired Parents. We'll see you next time, parents.